So a lot has happened since our last episode, from the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the Gaza ceasefire that shows promise of holding up, the robbery at the Louvre, the genocide in Nigeria against Christians that is taking an even more drastic turn. And even more shocking is the election season in Cameroon. We are now looking to the proclamation of the results for the election, and many are asking, are we looking to a new dawn? What is going to be the future of Cameroon? So in today's episode, we are looking into what has happened, what is happening, and what could happen in the coming days. This is the A-Report, and I'm your host, Doris. But before we get to the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the Next Generation Media channel so you don't get to miss out on any of our subsequent videos. So guys, I took a very sudden and long break to conclude my master's program at school, and désormais je suis un ingénieur. We thank God that ended very well, but the whole time I was very eager to get back on here because, like I said, it has been a very eventful couple of months, and I was looking into talking about all of this. So what's up with Cameroon? So the elections in Cameroon started on the 12th of October 2025. Initially, we had so many candidates who came up for elections, but we ended up with 9 candidates with their names on the ballot box. So before the election process, before election day, candidates went out to do their campaigns. And we're looking into which candidates were going to go to the northwest and southwest regions. Now, these are regions that have a lot of tension. For the past 9 years, they have been in tension, they have been in disarray, a lot of things happen in north and southwest. So a lot of people are looking into which candidates will go to the 2 regions that have been crying out to the nation for the past 9 years. We had candidates like Issa Tchiroma, we had candidates like Joshua Osi, I believe Cameroon and Biya also went to those regions. But one candidate that hasn't ever gone there since the start of these issues in the north and south region and didn't still go there in this season was President Paul Biya. Even though he had also been missing from his campaigns, most of his campaigns were done by his CPDM members and other members of his party, he was found very, very present in his billboards, his posters that are found practically almost all around the nation. I mean, you can barely walk 100 meters without seeing his billboards and posters. And it's very, very shocking that some of the people that had to go and mount up these billboards, mount up the posters, had to go with security. But regardless upon that, voters were very, 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 very delicate and serious with the voting process. Like, we had people that went there very early in the morning and stayed to when the votes were being counted. I was opportunity to have the people that were called to count the votes who have the polling stations. You had people came with their phones, were ready. It was a social media election, if I want to call it that. It was a social media election because people came with their phones ready. They're collecting video evidence, pictorial evidence. Some were even able to catch electoral fraud happening in the polls by some of the electoral officials and individuals that came to vote.
Il est en train de signer. Il est en train de signer partout. Et regarde, tous les gens qui ont voté non pas. Montrez-moi comment les votants vont partir sans signer. Plus qu'à l'entrée, dès que vous avez fini, on vous fait signer. C'est comme une décharge.
During my time of going to, because I actually went there later in the evening to go and watch the counting of the votes, and I was selected to be one of the people that were counting the votes that evening. I think my mom was not even aware that I actually went to count the votes because she was actually worried of things not being very secure. But in going there, I found out that Cameroonians, I've not seen Cameroonians that patriotic before. I've not seen Cameroonians that patriotic about their country. They were, like, once you count, I think a meme came out of the choo, choo, choo. That ran around the social media. But yeah, it was actually very patriotic to watch all those Cameroonians stand outside to not just vote, but actually preserve their votes, make sure that their voice will actually be heard, not just spoken. Like, when they speak, they're actually going to be heard. So we had that happen. Then the very next day, like, okay, let me go back to the day before. I think the social media was really packed. Like, I think after every minute, votes were coming in on social media. I mean, pictorial evidence, like, of when they finished calculating the votes, we had the boards that will record the marks. Everything was online. And people were very shocked to see that the particular votes that came in typed paper, like, not like the usual ones. And in most of those votes, shockingly, CPDM was a party ruling in those ones. But when we see the ones that have maybe they have been written by hand and calculated by hand, the ones that civilians sent online from their different polling stations, majority, or let me say, the most I saw were that of Tchiroma's party. Now, moving on to the next day, we had a lot more evidence that came out about the electoral fraud. We had at some points, I even saw people beat up CPDM, the electoral officials. Electoral officials, we had people that were caught with a whole ballot box. By ballot box, they were like filled with people's votes. I don't know what they plan on doing with them. Some people were caught with ballot papers at home. So that's actually evident of a lot of fraud that took part during the elections. That left people to ask how valid actually were the elections. Now, leading up to the period before right now, us coming to very, very closer to the election, to the results being declared, rumors are coming out that the CPDM party is once again in the lead for these elections. And Atagachi, which is the Minister of Territorial Administrations, has given a strict warning to Issa Tchiroma to not declare himself the winner of these particular elections or he'll be dealt with. Now, Issa Tchiroma has done the exact opposite of that by actually declaring himself the winner and asking that the people's choice should be respected, even asking for President Paul Biya to reach out to him and send him a congratulatory message on him being the new president.
Il apparaît clairement que nous sommes sortis vainqueurs avec une marge écrasante, un score supérieur à 50% de suffrages exprimés. Un tel rejet, un tel désaveu prescrit au président sortant de faire preuve de courage, d'humilité, au nom de la démocratie et des us et coutumes, appeler le vainqueur, le féliciter et lui notifier sa disponibilité à organiser une transition heureuse, mettant notre nation à l'abri de soubresauts et convulsions qui naîtraient d'une transition subie et non préparée.
So he did this because he had been doing his own vote counts, public vote counts, where in those vote counts he won. So he declared himself winner of the presidential election of 2025.
I am the winner, and in case somebody can demonstrate the contrary, we are ready.
Why did you not wait for the Constitutional Council to announce the official results as is required by law?
The law does not prevent us from doing what we did. The electoral code prescribes to the manager of polling station to display openly the result in his polling station. We have chosen the most important division in the nation, 18 of them. We collected all the documents related to the report according to the law. When we completed the compiling of it, we noticed that we have more than 60%, and while the second was lagging behind with less than 30%. We did it openly, and we gave the opportunity to whoever would like to challenge what we did. But up to date, nobody can.
Now, because of that, there has been a lot of riots that have happened in town. We have had riots in towns like Yaoundé, in Garoua, I believe in Chang, in Limbe as well. All supporters of Issa Tchiroma coming out to say they want their voice respected, that the people have chosen their president, is the news on the street, and they want that their president should be crowned the president of Cameroon.
Ouais, voilà la maison de parti de Chang en feu. Voilà ça.
Now, these protests have taken an even more drastic turn, with actually us having one person who has lost her life, Mrs. Zuheria, a teacher in her 30s, who was shot, reportedly shot by the officials, the police officials who were trying to disperse the crowd that had gathered, the crowd of protesters, and in the course of that ended her life. And with all this happening, Tchiroma continues to address his protesters. He has even called for his protesters to rally on Sunday at 3 p.m. for a peaceful protest.
On Sunday, October 26, 2025, at exactly 3 p.m., I call on all Cameroonians to come out in massive numbers in every city, every village.
Now, if you know Cameroon, we are not really people who have seen many peaceful protests in our days. Even if the people come out peacefully, the officials always come out aggressively, or people come out aggressively, and finally it's an entire mess. So when they are calling out for a peaceful protest, the idea might be okay, but at the end of the day, is it really feasible in Cameroon? We're going to see on Sunday. But we have many news outlets that are terming the election process to be peaceful, which is definitely not. There's a lot of tension in the country right now, and we can only ask, what is the future of Cameroon going to look like? We had the President Biya actually reached out to Tchiroma and offered him the chance to be the prime minister when he takes this term of ruling as the president, and Tchiroma refused the offer, allegedly, okay? And Tchiroma, unlike other candidates who reached out to the Constitutional Council to table out their worries, he went to the streets saying that he doesn't really have that much faith in the Constitutional Council, provided that 9 of the 10 members are part of the ruling party, so he doesn't trust them to be fair when addressing his worries. So that's the state of the country as we have right now, very tense. But one thing I can say about Monday, 27th October, is that Monday is definitely going to be an unforgettable day in the history of Cameroon. In whatever direction it goes, it's going to be an unforgettable day because the Cameroonians have come out. I believe I was so moved by how Cameroonians came out to vote. They got so involved in their countries. Normally, Cameroonians are very dismissive about the electoral process, but they came out in their numbers, even though it has turned to be some sort of rioting scenario, looking more like what we have in the Northwest and Southwest regions seems to now expand into the entire country. But we have seen a real effect of patriotism in the country from these elections. And I want to know how you feel about what's happening right now in the economy. Do you believe Tchiroma is, like they say, the new hope for the country? Or do you believe we should look forward to another 7 years of greatness and hope from the President Biya? That's all for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Drop your comments down in the comment section. But before you go, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Next Generation Media channel so you don't get to miss out on ever subscribe videos. Bye.
Mr. President, sir, I greet you. My name is Mimi J. Milson and I am tired. We are tired of seeing a land of promise, land of glory, when the only thing we see is suffering, sir. Every line of the anthem sounds like a sick joke now. We love this country, we really do, but the country doesn't love us back, sir.